Hello. So I'm here today to talk about prostate health and healing. Prostate health and healing. So if you are a man or you have a man in your life, you have a brother, you have a friend, you have a father, you have a husband, you have your husband, then you need to listen to me because this is very, very important for men. So I'm talking about this prostate health because of my dad. It's an experience that we had this period. So my dad is 77 years old. He complained about not urinating properly, and he was very weak. He complained about fatigue. In fact, he told me that sometimes he can't leave his bed until like 12 noon. Like he's so tired to get up from the bed. So I was like, what? So I needed him to go to the hospital. I finally had to move him to come to Lagos so that I would pay attention to him. And we started going for medical diagnosis. So we got to see the urologist, and the urologist sent us to some tests. He did a prostate test, and they found out that his values were so high. And then he recommended him for, in fact, when he was talking to me, he said that these values are likely, in fact, is likely to be prostate cancer. The values are so high, on top of the roof. He recommended an MRI. So we went for an MRI, did an MRI, and it came back with the results. I can't really remember exactly what's the result, but I know it's something like DIA3. So according to him, the MRI did not see cancer, but the MRI result, according to the doctor, is in between. Cannot say it's cancer, cannot say it's not cancer. That's where they were. And then he recommended him to go for a biopsy, which is where we are right now. The biopsy is supposed to happen sometime in the next 3 weeks or so. But before we got to this, because it was a long time going back and forth from the doctor, so in my own little way, I started making research. I started researching to see if there's any way I can help him, for before we could get the medical diagnosis and know the treatment that he was going to apply. What I did was I started researching, and I found some things that I already knew before because I run a nutrition shop. I already knew some of those things, but because now it's happening to someone very close to me that I'm taking care of one-on-one, then I had to research further. So the research I have come up with all this period that I have used to help him, now many of the symptoms, especially the tiredness and the fatigue he was feeling, all have disappeared. So while we are waiting to do the biopsy or not to do the biopsy, I thought that what we have done so far has really helped him to feel better and to urinate well. Now he urinates well. He doesn't have that urination problem he complained about. So I decided to teach this so that other people can take a cue, especially men, that you can do this while you are doing other things. Like putting a disclaimer on this series. This does not replace medical diagnosis. This is just a personal experience I had, dealing with my father. So I'm just sharing it as a knowledge that you can use if you so choose to use it. This is why I'm sharing this, because it's important that we share this information for those who want to use them. So before I dive into this series, what I just want to teach you is some of the natural seeds and herbs that I have been using for him, that I have noticed that he has had great improvement in urinating and even in his physical appearance, his energy and all that. He has really, really improved. it has improved. So the first thing I want to talk about is cooked tomatoes. Of course, I already know I have a in my nutrition business, I have a prostate health smoothie that I make. But what I discovered, is that there are much more ingredients that would enhance what I already know. So this is why I'm making this video. So tomatoes are the first ingredient you want on your list as a man. Cooked tomatoes. The tomato must be cooked, because once the tomato is cooked, what happens is that it releases its lycopene. There's an ingredient in tomatoes that is called lycopene. Tomatoes is rich in lycopene, but that lycopene becomes very useful for the body once it is cooked. So cooking tomatoes makes it more, absorbable into the body. So that's why you need to cook the tomatoes. So this lycopene also helps to reduce inflammation in the body, and also to cut down cancer risks for prostate cancer risk. So tomato is very, very important because it is rich in lycopene.